sure you all have seen on social media the really viral videos of cats being walked on leashes, cats going hiking, cats traveling, cats in backpacks, and it's very trendy right now, which I think is great, as long as it's done responsibly. Of course, you always want to keep your cat's safety and happiness as the top priority. So I'm going to share with you the 4 things you're going to need to get started with this, and the 6 steps you can take to start leash training your new kitten. Hello, welcome back to Loki and Elena. Today we are going to talk about how to leash train your new kitten, and this is a guide for beginners based off of my own experience leash training and harness training my cat Loki to become a travel-friendly adventure cat. No. He's gonna eat this plant. I don't want that to happen. Come here. All right, let's hop on in. So there's 4 things you're gonna need to get started with this. 1 is a well-fitting harness. There's lots of places you can purchase harnesses from, obviously pet supply stores, online, Amazon. The harness I started using for Loki when he was really small, I actually got at a Fred Meyer, which is, if you don't know, it's like a supermarket, grocery store. That was the smallest harness I could find for whatever reason, was at Fred Meyer. So this is the harness that I started using for Loki when he was really little. If you can find something small like this, that would be great, and they are adjustable, of course, but some of the harnesses, even the small sized harnesses, were just way too big when I got started with him, because he was only like 8.5 weeks old. So the second thing you're gonna need is a leash. So I have a retractable leash, and then I also have a very basic normal leash. The third thing you're going to need is a reward. So that can be cat treats, it can be a toy, it can be a wand toy like one of these. It can also be a laser pointer. And the fourth thing you're going to need is a backpack, a cat backpack. So I have one here that I really love. Oh, kind of big. This is Loki's backpack, and this is what I picked him up in when he was a kitten, so he has a lot of attachment to this. It's really a safe space for him, and he knows that, which I think is really lovely, that he isn't afraid of this is his carrier too, so he isn't afraid of his carrier slash backpack at all. He really loves it, and you can see the retractable leash is in that pocket there. So some kind of cat backpack where they can see out. So I know those bubble ones are also really popular, but to me those just looked a little bit too like sci-fi cat on the moon or something like that. Now, before we hop into the 6 steps, I want to say you need to make sure before you start doing any of this that your cat has received all of its vaccinations. You need to be on top of flea, tick, and heartworm prevention, vaccinations, and deworming, because when you're taking your cat outside, it exposes them to a lot of elements and critters and diseases. So please make sure that your kitten has at least had its first checkup with the vet, and mention to your vet that you are planning on starting to leash train your kitten so that they know everything that is going on. Okay, with that out of the way, step number 1 is to start wearing the harness indoors. So you want to get your kitten used to what it feels like to wear a harness. That way they will not react negatively in the future when you put on the harness. You get them used to this at a very early age, and it won't even faze them at all. So put on your cat's harness while indoors and just let them wear it around the house and get used to the way it feels. You don't want to leave it on for too long, but you can progressively start to increase the amount of time that they wear it. So the first day, maybe give them an hour. The second day, maybe give them 2 hours. And then a third day, give them 3 hours wearing that harness indoors just so they get used to the feeling. If your cat seems really unbothered by day 3, then you're probably ready to move on to step number 2. If your cat does not seem ready by day 3, then keep giving them more time with the harness until they do seem ready to take the next step. So step number 2 is to attach the leash to the harness. So the cat is going to be wearing the harness with the leash attached around the house, and you're just going to be holding the leash and letting them direct you. You are not going to do any directing or correcting. You're just going to follow the cat around wherever they want to go, holding the leash while it is attached to the harness. And this is just going to get them used to the concept of walking around together wearing all of these weird looking things. And I would do this for 15 to 20 minutes a day for as many days as it takes for them to get used to it. If they don't seem happy, if they don't seem relaxed, then you want to keep practicing. If they do seem unfazed, unbothered, then you're probably ready to move on to the next step. But make sure that you're giving them the time they need to get used to this. Step number 3 is they're wearing the harness with the leash, and instead of letting them direct you, you are now going to direct them. So you also need a reward for this step. So you're going to need some treats or a toy or a laser pointer, and you're going to have them wear their harness with the leash attached. You're going to hold the leash and you're going to direct them to different places around your house. So with the treats or the toys, you're going to entice them to move to certain areas. If your cat is trying to move in a direction that you did not want to go, you can gently correct them and lead them back into the direction that you want them to go. So you're introducing the idea that you are the leader and you are the protector when your cat is wearing their harness and their leash. They want to feel comfortable knowing that you are there to guide them. Step number 4 is to start going for walks outside around your neighborhood or in a park with your cat in their backpack. You want to start to introduce the outdoors to your cat to show them that they don't need to be afraid of the outdoors. There's so much going on outside that is not going on inside. There's different smells, there's different feelings, the feeling of a breeze and the wind and hearing the birds, hearing the bugs. It's a very sensory experience and it can be very overwhelming, especially for cats. Their senses are so heightened. So you want to be sensitive to that and start to introduce them to the outdoors while they are in their backpack. So just put them in the backpack. I like to wear the backpack in my front so that I can unzip this front pocket, and then he can like stick his head out and look around. And that was a great way for him to start to be like, wow, what is this place? This is kind of cool. I want to maybe explore. If your cat is a little more afraid, they might not want to stick their head out, right? But you want to just get them used to the concept and the feeling of being outside. So going for walks with your cat in their backpack is what you want to do, so that the outside world isn't quite so scary and overwhelming, so that when you do take them out on the leash, it's not going to be too much all at once. So you'll want to continue with this guided indoor leash training combined with the walks outside in the backpack. You want to continue doing these two things simultaneously until you feel that your cat is ready for the next step. Okay, now step number 5 is to start holding your cat while walking. So you're going to want to pull the cat out of the backpack, and they should have their harness and their leash already attached. Pull your cat out of the backpack and just hold them in your arms with your backpack still there behind you, and you're just going to hold them while you walk. So you just want to do the same route that you normally do. Don't go to like a different park or something. Just do the same normal route that the cat is used to. And if they start to squirm, then that's a sign that maybe they want to be let down. They might want to explore a little bit. So a little bit of squirming can mean that they're feeling good and they want to walk on their own. It can also mean that maybe they're really scared. So if there's another person nearby, or if there's a dog, your cat might freak out a little bit, and so that squirming means back in the backpack. But the good kind of squirming, where they look like they kind of want to jump down, that's going to be a good sign, and that's going to lead you to the final step. So step number 6, our final step, is to let your cat down to walk on their own when they squirm. And you want to make sure you have a toy or a treat with you so you can guide them in the correct direction. You don't want to allow them to guide you. You need to be in charge of the situation. So make sure that you're guiding them with rewards, or if they simply cannot be guided, you pick them back up. And you're going to repeat this process again and again and again and again. Every time they squirm, let them down, let them walk on their own. If they refuse to go the correct direction, you pick them back up. So you're going to repeat this process again and again and again on the same route. So it really starts to become second nature to them. They know that when they're out on a walk, they can walk on their own, but they have to continue in the correct direction or they get picked back up. And if they're really giving you trouble, put them back in the backpack. Something I noticed with Loki is that sometimes he just needed a moment to look around before he was ready to continue. So I would give your cat a little bit of time before picking them back up. Let them take maybe a minute or two. If they're just sitting down or if they lay down and they're just kind of looking around, they might just continue walking again if you give them a moment to kind of collect themselves. They're very observant animals, obviously. So this is just something I noticed with Loki, is that he sometimes just needed to take a moment and then he would continue right on walking. So you don't need to jump the gun and pick them up as soon as they stop walking. Maybe give them a second, right? But for the most part, like if they're being really difficult and they're not going in the correct direction, pick them up, keep walking, and then when they squirm and they feel like they want to walk again, then let them back down. And do be aware that sometimes your cat might just get really tired and maybe it doesn't want to walk anymore, and that is completely fine. So you always want to have that backpack with you, or understand that you might end up carrying the cat most of the way. If the cat just isn't feeling it that day, that's okay, and you need to be patient with them and understand that they are not like dogs. They are cats, so they're never going to behave exactly like a dog, and that's fine. You wouldn't want them to behave exactly like a dog anyways. That's what makes them so special. You always need to go into every walk knowing that potentially you could end up just carrying them the entire way if they don't feel up to it. And that's totally fine, and you need to be understanding and very patient with that. Hey guys, I just wanted to add something in here real quick. Please make sure that your cat is either microchipped or is wearing a tag on their harness for identification in case they do ever escape. You want to make sure that it's easy for someone to get a hold of you if your cat is found. So please microchip or have an identification tag on the harness. Okay, that's all. So just be patient with your cat and enjoy the experience of being out and about with them. This is really good exposure anyways, and will make them much better travel companions moving forward. Everything that you're doing to expose them to the outdoors and walking on a leash, this is all going to be really beneficial moving forward as they grow up, for making them very travel friendly. So that's really everything that I've done with Loki so far to get him where he's at. We go on walks with the backpack. I let him down when he squirms so that he can walk. I'm patient with him. I give him rewards. And if he isn't taking direction, or if he really just doesn't feel up to it, I just carry him the whole way, or I put him back in the backpack. And side note, while you're on these walks with your cat, it is possible that they will become afraid of something and you might get kind of scratched up. I know with Loki, the things that scared him the most were sprinklers and dogs. So anytime there was a sprinkler or a dog, he started to kind of squirm and start to get kind of scratchy, and I'd put him back in the backpack. But to avoid getting scratched up too badly, please make sure that you have trimmed your cat's claws. If you need a little bit of help with that, I did make a video about how to safely trim your cat's claws, so I can go ahead and link to that if you want to go ahead and watch that as well. Just wanted to mention, like, you could become scratched up if your cat becomes afraid while out on one of these walks. Alright, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any additional advice for how to leash train a cat, go ahead and leave that information down below in the comments. I'm sure we would all love to share information and see what everyone's experiences have been with this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!